Hi, I'm Lindsey, and I'm talking with MedTech industry leaders on how they change lives for a better world.
The inventions and technologies are fascinating, and so are the people who work with them.
There was a period of time where I realized fundamentally my job was to go hang out with really smart people that are saving lives and then do work that would help them save more lives.
I got into the business to save lives, and it is incredibly motivating to work with people who are in that same business, saving or improving lives.
What better industry than where I get to wake up every day and just save people's lives?
These are extraordinary people doing extraordinary work, and this is The Leading Difference. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Leading Difference podcast. I'm your host, Lindsey, and today I am absolutely delighted to introduce you to my guest, Katie Bochnowski. Katie is Senior Vice President of Customer Success and Services at NowSecure, co-author of the book iPhone and iOS Forensics, and a recognized expert in mobile forensics and app security testing. Katie holds a master's in cyber forensics and bachelor's of science in computer technology from Purdue University. In her current role, Katie oversees customer support, onboarding and success departments, as well as the mobile AppSec professional services organization that is responsible for pen testing, training, and consulting. All right. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so delighted to speak with you today.
Awesome. I'm really happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, I would love if you wouldn't mind just starting off by telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what led you to MedTech.
Awesome. Sure. So I'm Katie Bochnowski. I work for a company called NowSecure. My background, dating back many years to school, is in computer technology and more specifically cyber forensics. Where I am now is mobile app security. How I got into that industry is really from that forensic background. Our company used to do data recovery and forensic investigations on mobile devices, and we kind of quickly realized that mobile apps are storing a lot of data. So we shifted into proactively working with organizations to secure those apps that reside on devices. And in terms of MedTech, obviously you can probably make that connection, but we began working closely with first companies that really care about the data that's being stored and transmitted on those apps, which absolutely includes MedTech industry.
Awesome. Okay, so going back a little bit. So when you were first deciding on college paths and career paths and all those lovely things, what drew you to where you ended up?
I don't have a great aha moment for this question. It was just one of those things. I grew up, I had a computer in my house. I did typing tutor when I was really young on MS-DOS, and I just always enjoyed that. I had a friend in high school, and we both got interested in making our own website with HTML. So it was just enjoying being around computers and also tinkering to figure out what was wrong with something from a technology perspective. Purdue is where I attended. Purdue had a more generic computer technology degree that I didn't have to know exactly what I wanted to do. You could try different paths. So that's kind of what got me into it. It's not like I knew I wanted to do that my whole life, but I never really went back or questioned it. I always just kind of enjoyed it along the way.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so the phrase cyber forensics is just exciting. So can you dive a little bit more into exactly what that means and entails and what it looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is exciting, so much so, in fact, that my senior year of college, the very first time they offered this class, it was called cyber forensics. It was an elective and it sounded amazing, and it was amazing. It was really cool. We went through from start to finish how you collect evidence from a computer and technology perspective, how you keep it pristine, how you collect the data off of it. We even got to work with local law enforcement as part of an internship to do all that. So I was very lucky in that my very last semester of my 4 years, they offered this, and I just really, really liked it. It always was there in the back of my mind. So yeah, cyber forensics is really the collective of all things digital, which is everything now. I don't do necessarily that work anymore, but I can't even imagine all of the data collection off of Alexas and all of those devices. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into that.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah. So, okay. So, talking about this data collection and all of these things, I'm curious, what are maybe one or two things that just really surprised you when you started getting into the industry and doing the work?
I know people always said this and it shouldn't have been a surprise, but when I first started working for NowSecure, which was actually called Via Forensics back in the day when I first started, we worked on a lot of individual cases. So people saying, "Can you recover my deleted text messages, pictures, and things like that?" And the amount of data that really does reside on those devices still after you delete them, going back months, years. So, I don't know if that's still the case now. I don't know if they do a better job of that, but that's was surprising to us. What was also surprising was how much apps are storing and transmitting data on those devices when you don't think about it. So a lot of these cases that we would work on, they would focus so much on voicemails, emails, photos, and text messages, but nobody ever said, "Hey, can you go check the Facebook app or the Messenger app you're using?" That was something we realized pretty quickly and were shocked to see, this was 15 years ago, how many apps were storing incredibly sensitive information on those devices.
Yeah. And so now that there's more awareness of this and people are maybe hopefully taking a little bit more ownership of even their own awareness and education with all of it, what do you see are the changes and shifts towards better protection?
Yeah, great question. So there's a couple things. One, people are more aware, so they are leveraging the best practices really for these things. So there's places you should and shouldn't store data on devices, and you should use encryption for sensitive information and encryption that can't easily be broken into. The platforms themselves, too, Android, iOS, have also made improvements in protecting those sandboxes, but it's not everything. So you absolutely still have to be mindful of that. A lot of organizations like medtech companies and financial organizations do add a lot of those extra protections, but a lot of people don't still. They're not either don't think about it as much or aren't aware of it. And then the other thing that we see is everyone could have, 100% perfect intentions in storing and protecting that data, but you make a mistake or you accidentally leave a debug flag on or something like that where this information still can be accessed even though developers and security organizations are following the best practices there.
Mm. Yeah. So as you look toward the future of device security in general and cybersecurity, what are you looking forward to in terms of improvements and hope for the future? Because I know there's a
Yeah.
lot of things to worry about just
Yeah.
in life. But what are some of the things that you're hopeful about?
Yeah. I'm hopeful for the, I'm going to call it the camaraderie we're seeing between security and development groups. Not that there was argument or debate between them before, there probably was a little bit, but we are seeing a lot more organizations have what they refer to as a security champions program, which brings those groups together. Security used to be seen, and probably in a lot of cases still is seen as that blocker. Developers are being rushed and pushed to release features quickly. They have deadlines, timelines, and then if security finds an issue, it has to go back to the drawing board to remediate. But with these programs, we're seeing either a development group that has a security champion there or just teams kind of melding together a little bit more to build that testing earlier on. That's a trend we're seeing increase more and more. And I believe that's going to only continue because it's just the right thing to do for everyone all around.
Yeah. And that collaboration piece is so critical to eventual success or hopefully even shorter term success, like you
Yeah,
said, so that there's not as many iterations. It's like, no, let's just integrate and do this from the start well
exactly.
together. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Cool. Okay, so you started with NowSecure, and then eventually you got your first MedTech clients. Could
Yeah.
you talk about that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, before I even started with NowSecure, I worked for a Fortune 100 company in their security department doing firewall rule management, and it was all good and everything. But I remember thinking throughout my career, I'm the type of person that likes to do things meaningful, making an impact on people. So for many years, I was like, okay, what am I doing? I'm just executing firewall rules. I'm recovering data. That's why the forensic work was so appealing to me, because you were actually helping assist with investigations that mattered. Then getting into the mobile app security industry was certainly important, but it took it to a whole new level for me when we got our first MedTech client. I remember going on site and seeing some of the things that the apps can do in conjunction with medical devices, implants, et cetera, and thinking, if you get this wrong, this can impact a human life. That helped bring all of this to a whole new level. And it's something I talk about internally within our organization as well, to help people understand how meaningful it is what we do, what the medtech industry does, and how important it is to get security right. It's just helped me with a new perspective. I love working with our medtech industry clients. It's contagious to be around them and see how much they care about what they do and how important it is to their lives. Makes an impact on the way I work as well then.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so true. I get so inspired by even just talking with these incredible founders, their devices and their heart behind why
Yes,
they're doing what they're doing. It's not an easy road. So choosing to do so and then hearing that passion is what drives them sometimes in those crazy late nights, early mornings,
exactly.
hassle in between.
Exactly.
So you started getting MedTech clients and now you've developed a niche offering for that group. I'm wondering, what are some of the common themes that you see companies maybe aren't aware to consider when they're starting their development of their devices and apps? And perhaps just some general advice. What should people be on the lookout for?
Yeah. So I guess I shouldn't say unique, but specific to organizations like medtech industry or financial or healthcare, and the apps they build is that highly sensitive information. And so I guess my advice and the thing I would point out that I see in those types of applications is not only, of course, best security practices and understanding what's unique in mobile is super important, because web apps have been developed for many, many years. Mobile apps now have been many years, but people don't necessarily know that it is unique in the way that they are developed and the different attack surfaces, right? You have the local device attack surface, you have the attack surface of other apps that could be malicious that are installed on that device. So, understanding what those mobile unique security best practices are is my number one piece of advice for developers. Number two would then be multiple layers of security protection. So, developing a secure app is one part of it and a very important part of it. What we see is a lot of organizations sometimes are dependent on either the protections of the device OS itself, the Android OS protections or iOS protections. And there are tools out there that offer protections like tamper detection. If you detect the app is being tampered with, don't launch it. If you detect the app is installed on an exploited, rooted, jailbroken device, don't launch it or don't allow login. Those are important, but those can be bypassed. And
Right.
so I say multiple layers of protection. I'm not against those protections. I think they're very important. I think you should do them. But you should also assume in some cases they can be bypassed, and you need to have that foundational security in the way you develop your applications.
Yeah. So you've had a really interesting career so far, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of things over the years. What are some moments that really stand out to you, especially with your medtech clients, as hitting home that wow, I am in the right place at the right time, making an impact?
I think it's hard because it's not like there's one single moment, because what you want to avoid in this industry is a breach, is something like this, oh my gosh, this big negative moment.
Right.
And so honestly, it's seeing the organizations we work with not having that happen. When you do see a breach, that might be mobile specific. I immediately jump in and see, okay, what happened? How did they exploit this? What was the actual vulnerability that led to this? We check for that and we help our customers test for that and knowing, okay, phew, they're covered. And we see that kind of stuff all the time. So I don't have necessarily a big moment, but I do have those moments along the way where it's like you see something in the news and you are not surprised by the way that was exploited. It's something that is foundational to mobile app security, and your customers are protected.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good reminder in general because sometimes you get those big, crazy, sort of in your face moments that are going, yes, okay, I
Yeah.
know why I'm here. But then those don't happen all that much usually. So having
Yeah.
those little encouragements along the way of, you're on the right path, you're doing the right things is incredibly
It's
inspiring.
funny. It actually reminds me of sometimes we'll work with customers and they'll use our products or services and they'll be upset because we haven't found anything in a certain amount of time. Seriously. And they're like,
Yeah.
you must not be testing enough, or you haven't found anything high risk in 6 months. Sometimes we have to remind them that's good. Green is good, is what we always say. Green is good. And of course, you want to check and make sure you're doing everything in depth as possible. But if you do a full 2-week pen test and nothing big is found, that's good. You're doing a great job. So take the win. Green is good.
Green is good. I love it. Words to live by. You have had a really interesting trajectory, even through NowSecure, but throughout your career, and you've stepped into different kinds of leadership roles. I'm wondering, how has that evolution been for you as a leader? What are some of your key takeaways that you've discovered work really well and maybe some
Yeah.
lessons learned?
Yeah. So I was not the person coming out of college that said, I want to get my MBA. I want to be a CEO. I want to be, high up in an organization. I just knew I liked computer technology. I liked tinkering, that kind of stuff. So I wanted to do things that were interesting. Via Forensics and now Secure really was amazing for me because I got to do all of that. I got to grow with the company. I was really the first employee with the co-founder here. And as the company grew, I naturally started developing the managerial and the leadership roles as we hired more people and got more clients. So for me, I learned on the job along the way. And when I think about it, I see people that are very ambitious to be a manager, and that's okay too. The best leaders that I've seen have been leaders that have naturally and organically developed a mutual respect, trust, and collaboration with their teams, seeing them as partners and peers and not someone to delegate things to in an authoritative way. And that's not just necessarily from a managerial perspective, because I see individual contributors on my team, for example, that exhibit amazing leadership skills, developing those relationships with other departments. And when you do that, you get, I don't mean this in the way it's going to sound, but you get people to do things for you because they want to, because they want to support you. And so that's what I always like to focus on is just building those relationships, having empathy for other people. And of course, there's delegation that comes with that. But when you do that, then they want to do that for you or for the organization because you've built that foundation.
Yes, that's great advice. I really appreciate that. There were several things in there that stood out to me. One of them was your comment about even individual contributors can be leaders. So
Yes.
even if you're not technically in a managerial role or you don't have anyone working underneath you at the moment, doesn't mean you can't develop those skill sets
Yeah.
and lead yourself and lead your own direction. So I think
Yeah.
that's a really important note and something to give a little bit of perhaps inspiration to. So if you want to be in that leadership role at some point, but you're not there yet, doesn't mean you can't build the skills along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think about I have heard people in the past say, "Oh, I can't go ask them to do something. I don't have the authority to do that." I hear that a lot. I'm not their manager. I can't tell them to do that. And then there's people that don't even think that way and just build that relationship and get others to collaborate and work with them. Those are the natural leaders that managers are going to see and want to promote to be the next manager, right? So
Ah,
if I'm going to give another piece of advice, it would say never say, I don't have the authority or I don't have the power to do that or it's above my pay grade is something that I'm like, oh, don't say that because nothing is. You just need to learn to work with others to figure out how to do that.
yeah. And I think you're absolutely right about relationship building and collaboration being such a key to success in general. I mean, I think about all of the opportunities that are created in these sort of magical, what feel like magical synergistic moments that happen, but they're not magical. They're because of intentionally
Yes.
cultivating these relationships. So, yeah, I love that. And then helping people come up alongside you. So, that's actually a concept I'd love to hear about your experience, either as a mentor or mentee or anything like that that you've experienced that has really been inspirational to you.
Yeah. Well, I guess I have maybe two examples. I had someone that was working on my team many years ago. And again, we worked very closely as I saw him as a partner. And he got to a place basically at the organization where I would always tell him, we could switch jobs and you could do this and I could report to you. And it doesn't matter because I saw him grow that quickly. And he's now at another position that's probably double my pay. And I don't know. But you want to see that. And some people might be threatened by that, but you shouldn't be if you are doing the right thing because you want to see people grow into those roles. I don't know if this directly answers your question, but there is a leader who's a CEO of another organization who I have always looked up to. And I just see this is exactly how she leads. Everybody respects her. Everybody wants to support her and her mission at her company. Even when you're not working at her company like me, you just see the way she leads and the way she has built relationships throughout all of the employees in her organization. It's just something that I aspire to.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's really helpful because you'll get your share of, well, I think most people at least have had the experience of getting their share of people in leadership roles that they would maybe not wish to emulate. So getting to be
Yes.
inspired
Yeah.
by the people who are doing it correctly
Yes.
is lovely.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. What is your number one, if you could boil it down, piece of advice for ordinary folks who are looking to up their own security game and just be more aware?
Be curious. Don't wait for someone to show you or teach you how to do something. Part of what I oversee is managing a group of mobile app pen testers. And the best pen testers that I've seen are not the ones that have tons of experience or skill. It's actually, we've had 2 interns come straight out of school, come in and just dive into things without being asked and just go figure it out and learn. And so be curious, go try online exams and labs. Even if you have no clue what you're doing, just try it, research and figure it out and be curious. And I guess that's my biggest thing.
I love it. Yeah. Curiosity gets you far in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So pivoting the conversation a little bit just for fun,
Yes.
imagine that you were to be offered $1 million to teach a masterclass on anything you want. It doesn't have to be in your industry, but it could be. What would you choose to teach?
Okay. This might take a nerdy turn.
Excellent.
And I would need a lot of education or somebody else who's an expert in this to actually teach the class. But I've personally gotten really interested the last couple of years into brain health, neuroplasticity, managing stress, and the importance of it. And this is from a personal situation that I went through and not really understanding how just everyday little stressors. I never saw myself as a highly stressed person. I was actually quite the opposite. But when you internalize a lot of, just like I said, everyday stressors, doesn't have to be anything big. Arguing with my daughter every morning to get dressed before school has an impact on your body and your brain health. And it started having physical symptoms in me that got scary, right? I don't need to dive into that, but from that, it helped me in meeting with a bunch of health experts and learning that what an impact your brain health really has on you. So if I could go back and teach some of the exercises that I was given, super simple things like these little games on your app that just help work different areas of your brain that you don't normally work. When you get in a routine at work and every morning you wake up, send your kid to school, sit down at your desk, do the same meetings, emails, you have the same routine every day. You don't have just a change in your routine or try new hobbies, things like that, then your brain doesn't grow and that affects your health and your mood and all of that. I've just learned so much about that. And I remember getting to a point where I was like, why isn't this a class, a required class in high school, college, and beyond? It should be part of onboarding at every job. So I guess that's my answer. I don't think I'm quite qualified to teach it, but I'd love to attend it.
There you go. You can facilitate it. How about that?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And how do you wish to be remembered after you leave this world?
Oh, this is the hard one for me. I think it's probably a cliche answer, but just, caring for others, doing things for others, being kind, just being a good person
Yeah.
is really all I want.
Yeah. Very nice. And then final question.
Yeah.
What is one thing that makes you smile every time you see or think about it?
Oh, this is also going to be probably a common answer. My daughter, my daughter,
Oh.
who is 6 going on 16, very much a teenager. But I remember a friend of mine telling me, because I remember asking her, when your child grows up, isn't it so sad that, oh, they're no longer a baby, they're no longer one, like to see them grow up? And she said, well, maybe a little bit. Each stage is something so new that you're so proud of what they've developed and grown that you don't even really think about that. Oh, and it's so true. It's just seeing her read and seeing her, she's going to be a future leader, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Just the way I've seen her. And so just seeing that pride overcomes any kind of, oh, I miss that one. But of course, I still miss her when she was a baby. But yeah, so that makes me smile, that and yoga.
Yes. Yoga is so wonderful. I mean,
Oh,
yeah. And speaking of ways to help de-stress, calm
yes,
down a bit. Yeah.
that
Take
has
that
helped me
time.
dramatically for sure. So,
Excellent. Excellent.
yep.
Well, it has been a true pleasure and honor to have you here today, Katie. So thank you so much for spending a little bit of time. And we are so honored to be making a donation on your behalf as a thank you for your time today to Save the Children, which works to end the cycle of poverty by ensuring communities have the resources to provide children with a healthy, educational, and safe environment. So thank you so much for choosing that charity to support. And also, thank you for continuing to work to change lives for a better world. We're grateful, and I wish you the most amazing continued success.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And yeah, thank you also to our listeners for tuning in. And if you're feeling as inspired as I am right now, I'd love it if you'd share an episode with a colleague or two, and we'll catch you next time.
The Leading Difference is brought to you by Velentium Medical. Velentium Medical is a full-service CDMO serving MedTech clients worldwide to securely design, manufacture, and test Class 2 and Class 3 medical devices. Velentium Medical's 4 units include research and development, carrying electronic and mechanical design, embedded firmware, mobile app development, and cloud systems, with the human factor studies and systems engineering necessary to streamline medical device regulatory approval. Contract manufacturing, building medical products at the prototype, clinical, and commercial levels in the U.S. as well as in low-cost regions in 1345 certified and FDA-registered Class 7 clean rooms. Cybersecurity, generating the 12 cybersecurity design artifacts required for FDA submission. And automated test systems, assuring that every device produced is exactly the same as the device that was approved. Visit ValentiumMedical.com to explore how we can work together to change lives for a better world.